واتقوا فتنة لا تصيبن الذين ظلموا منكم خاصة.
Islamic principles for the Muslims' attitude during Fitan.
The subject that has been shown is the topic of the hour because it is about the afflictions, and the Muslim has to be fully aware what to do and how to behave in those times of abnormality.
Benefits of adhering to the principles.
Knowing those rules which he is going to mention gives you the right framework to act.
When fitan arise and situations change. Then one should act with kindness, deliberation, and without haste.
The first thing that should occur to your mind is gentleness, because it will keep your mind straight. The biggest problem nowadays is hasteness. In all the fitnas, you go and follow what is being said and written. You will find hasteness. They jump into doing things.
Second principle. When fitan arise and situations change, then do not give judgment about anything except after fully grasping the situation.
You don't have to give a judgment. And who are you to give a judgment? Wait, there are scholars. Upon receiving the information, they double check it, they have their ways, weigh the outcomes of the decisions that they are going to make in the right way.
Why are scholars silent at the occurrence of some incidents?
فالعلماء يراعون المصالح ودرء المفاسد فلا يتكلمون إلا حيث يفيد الكلام وينفع ولا يسكتون إلا حيث يكون السكوت أولى.
A Muslim should not rush to speak about something, especially if it is something which involves bloodshed and a lot of things. If you say a word improperly, then as if you have supported bloodshedding, and you will be one of those who are accountable for killing this person or that person.
When the ignorant speak about fitan, the fitan increase.
إذا تكلم الجهال في الفتن زادت الفتن.
The scholars really, they don't give a fatwa if they don't know enough to give a fatwa. Every fatwa has two pillars. One is the knowledge of the situation itself, fiqh al-waqi', and one is the knowledge of sharia regarding the ruling for that situation.
Concerning those who say scholars do not know the current affairs.
كيف كانوا كبار علماء وهم ما يعرفون الواقع؟ لا يكون من كبار العلماء إلا من يعرف الواقع وينزل الحوادث على الأدلة.
The Muslim must abide by justice and fairness in all issues.
Just in judging the people. If you criticize someone, even if he is a kafir, you don't hide something good in him. If you reply on an innovator, it's not a rule always that you leave out all the evil that is in this innovator. It's not a rule that you never mention any of his goods.
Fourth principle. The Muslim must stick to the Jama'ah, the Imams and scholars of Ahl-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and abide by their sayings.
من فارق الجماعة شبرا فقد خلع ربقة الإسلام من عنقه. الله أكبر. This is to show how dangerous is this. To separate yourself and to act different from what you know that the scholars are acting or saying. Scholars, according to the definition of Ahl-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, are the ones who are declared as such by well-known scholars, not by other individuals. Those followers of Juhayman, they entered Mecca and they made a big fitna, which led to fighting in the haram itself and closing the haram for maybe 3 weeks. Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah was asked, but some of his followers were memorizing the whole 6 hadith books. Shaykh al-Albani answered as if this is nothing. He said, okay, so alhamdulillah we have an extra copy of each hadith book in the library. So what? They memorize it, but they don't know the right meaning. They are creating big fitnas in Muslim countries. Al-Qaradawi, he comes to the hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari
where the Prophet ﷺ says the women are short in their deen and short in their memory and thinking. He doesn't like this hadith. And he says, no. The Prophet was only joking here. Joking? Subhanallah.
Shaykh al-Albani speaks about al-Qardawi and his rejection of hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari.
أنه حديث موضوع، وهذا لا يقوله إنسان يعرف ما يخرج من فمه من عقله، لأن الحديث موضوع كما لا يخفى على إخواننا جميعا، هو ما رواه كذاب وضاع. وهل في صحيح البخاري كذاب وضاع؟ حاشاه.
Fifth principle: a Muslim must weigh the banners that are raised during fitan in the scale of Ahl-Sunnah wal Jama'ah.
Don't rush into accepting something from anyone. You have to make sure of it. The fact that it is just appealing to you, this is not enough. You as a Muslim, whatever you take on as an opinion, this is going to be your religion that you will meet Allah with. فَانظُرُوا عَمَّنْ تَأْخُذُوا دِينَكُمْ. So be careful who to take your religion from. Nowadays, unfortunately, we find Muslims rushing to accept things from people like Bush and Obama and those people, and people who are non-Muslims, they are kafirs. You don't accept anything from them until you are sure that what they said is in accordance to our religion. Otherwise, don't accept anything from anyone. Kafir, innovator, even an ignorant Muslim, don't accept. Some people present Islam as jihad only. And they say, forget about da'wah, forget about this, forget about that. And they dare to call those who are involved in da'wah hypocrites. Hypocrites, they say. Why? Because they are not making jihad. Some say Islam is to establish the Islamic State first. In the beginning, we should not care about telling people this is shirk, this is tawheed. Like Hassan al-Banna, the one who started Ikhwan al-Muslimun, this was his way. And he says, this is our Islam. And our concern now is to bring back the Khilafah. And then after that, things will be easier to correct and all this. This is the opposite way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And you are saying the opposite? The takfiris, they have their own fundamentals. If you declare those who they declare to be kafirs, you declare them kafirs, then you are a Muslim and you are Sunni. If you don't, then you are a kafir. You are a kafir. So we judge by tawheed and by the fundamentals of Aqidah that are agreed upon by all Ahl Sunnah and written in their books 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's written and the proofs are there. That's why we have to study them.
Sixth principle: there are rules for statements and actions during fitan. Not every saying which appears good to you should be expressed.
Like Imam Malik rahimahullah said, ما كل ما يعلم يقال ولا كل ما يقال حضر أوانه ولا كل ما حضر أوانه حضر رجاله. Not everything which is known to be said, and not everything which is to be said is to always be said, and not everything which is to be said is to be said in front of everyone. Demonstrations which happened in Tunis, in Egypt, the scholars said demonstrations are not actions of Islam, are not means of correction. They are actions that we have brought from kafirs.
Demonstrations are a cause of fitna.
لا أرى المظاهرات النسائية والرجالية من العلاج، ولكن أرى أنها من أسباب الفتن ومن أسباب الشرور ومن أسباب.
When this happened in Libya, the situation was different because Muammar al-Gaddafi was declared to be a non-Muslim a lot of years ago because he denied Sunnah altogether. He said Sunnah is a satanic innovation. He dropped words of Quran. To deny one letter of Quran, this is great kufr.
Disobedience of the people to Allah reflects in their rulers.
معصية الناس لولاة الأمور بقدر معصية ولاة الأمور لله عز وجل.
وكذلك نولي بعض الظالمين بعضا بما كانوا يكسبون. This is our way, Allah is saying. This is our sunnah, to install tyrants, unjust rulers, above unjust people who have done injustice to themselves by doing sins. We have to change ourselves, and we have to be patient and acting upon the orders of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنكُمْ وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَيُمَكِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ دِينَهُمُ الَّذِي ارْتَضَىٰ. This is a promise from Allah. Allah does not break His promise. Two things: Iman, the right faith, which we have to learn, and then acting upon the right faith in the right way. Allah will provide us with rulership, with khilafah, with good things. So we cannot suffer about 50 people who are rulers here and there and ignore, Allahu A'lam, how many millions of Muslims or billions of Muslims.
Seventh principle: Allah has ordered us to align ourselves with the believers, especially the scholars.
The scholars are the carriers of this religion. They are the jama'ah. What those takfiris do nowadays. When a scholar says something that they think it's in their favor, all of a sudden he becomes a big scholar. And then when he says something they dislike in a certain issue which they think it's very important, they shout, "Oh, what does he know? He's a kafir. He's a hypocrite. He's a puppet of the governments. He is this, he is that."
Slandering the scholars pleases the disbelievers.
وهذا يفرح الكفار فهذا عدو ثالث احذروا منهم.
Those are devils because they are blocking the people from truth, because scholars have the truth. If people think bad about the scholars, then who would they refer to?
Be cautious, fearful, and alert from non-scholars.
هذا خطر عظيم ولا سيما في هذا الوقت إنه قل العلماء قل الفقهاء وكثر القراء.
Eighth principle: disassociation from the disbelievers is an important principle. It should always be on one's mind.
You saw the demonstrations in Egypt. One is raising the cross and the other one has a small Quran raising it besides it. And the cross is that big. The issue of tawalli or muwalat, it's not like black and white, either great kufr or no crime at all. No, it has levels, it has degrees. Seeking allegiance, even in some of its worst forms, like spying, is not necessarily great kufr. And Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, based on this verse and the incident of Hatib, he said, I say that spying is not great kufr.
Ninth principle: do not apply the ahadith of fitan to the incidents and events you are living.
You know what led to the fitna of Juhayman? He secluded himself now from the scholars. And then finally he reached the situation where he was interpreting the dreams that he see according to the hadiths of fitna. Shaykh bin Baz said, fear Allah. You don't decide this important issue of aqeedah, the coming out of the Mahdi, by dreams.